S&OP is a very unique process inside the supply chain suite. So, which are the top 10 S&OP systems in 2024? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So, let's start.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with the digital transformation strategy, supply chain strategy, enterprise technology selection, implementation, as well as change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 S&OP systems in 2024. We published this list in 2023 as well. So there are no major changes as such from the list just because of the limited advancements in these ecosystems. Just to align our expectations on the S&OP systems, this is going to be a specialized S&OP solution typically can be procured as a standalone as opposed to being integrated as part of the ERP suite or the supply chain suite. So that's what we favor when we are looking at different S&OP systems. The criteria that we use is the product share, the acquisition strategy focused on S&OP, the product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as investors. So if all of these factors are going to be geared towards more of the S&OP component, then they generally rank higher on this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is RELX Solutions. So RELX Solutions, when you look at RELX capabilities, but before we look at RELX, let's analyze how these solutions are structured. So for the most part, there are going to be 2 or 3 different ways most of the solutions combine these S&OP capabilities as part of their solution. So number 1 is going to be either they are going to be part of ERP suite. So in some industry that ERP alignment matters a lot. So those solutions are going to target those specific industries. In other cases, they are going to be part of supply chain suite. And in general, when you look at supply chain processes as well as S&OP processes, they tend to be slightly more industry-centric, meaning they are not going to have as much wider adoption that you are going to find with some of the other solutions. So in the case of RELX, it's a pure play S&OP platform. It has far more capabilities for the retail planning when you are going to look at pricing and promotions. But when you compare RELX with some of the other solutions, for example, let's say if you compare this with Blue Yonder or Manhattan, they are going to have far more operational execution capabilities that you are not going to find with RELX. When you look at 3 different layers of the supply chain suite, which is going to be your network, planning, as well as execution, RELX is going to be only relevant from the planning perspective. It is going to rely on the other solutions for the other capabilities. When you look at the planning horizon, so for example, let's say if you are looking at the centralized planning workloads, and those planning workloads are going to be your supply chain plus your FP&A plus your workforce. So what RELX can do is just the supply chain piece, not everything else. So that's where RELX is going to be relevant. Let's say if you're a retail organization looking for supply chain planning capabilities in the standalone manner, but it might not be as relevant when you are looking for the embeddedness of S&OP capabilities with the other solutions. So the pros for RELX is the integrated workforce planning. And workforce planning, especially in the retail verticals, it very tightly correlates with your other product or inventory planning. So that's why the workforce planning is far more meaningful for the retail organization, and that's why it has to be part of that S&OP suite. So some of the solutions might not have that, and that's why they might not be as relevant for retail. But at the same time, when you look at RELX, RELX is not going to be as relevant for the other industries. The other limitations for RELX is going to be it's not a integrated suite, so you will require a lot more add-ons. You will require far more consulting effort in integrating with the master data governance than some of the other solutions. But at the same time, let's say if you're looking to procure this at the departmental level without aligning it with the other departments. If that is going to be a challenge, then Relics would be a great fit. And it is not going to be ideal for enterprise level workloads. It is primarily an SMB solution. So in the enterprise spaces, when you're looking at millions and millions of SKU and location level combinations, that's when Relics is probably not going to be a great fit. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Oracle Gmentra, and Oracle product is going to be relevant for companies that are going to be on Oracle for the other capabilities. So the verticals where Oracle really shines, that's where your Oracle Gmentra is going to be a great fit. Now, this takes a very different approach overall from the other solutions perspective. So the pros with Oracle Gmentra is that it is designed for those enterprise workloads. It is going to have very similar capabilities as your Manhattan or your Blue Yonder, but this is also going to be slightly more favored towards your ERP capabilities. They are going to be embedded. The SCM capabilities are going to be embedded as part of workload as well. And then you are looking at the complete planning horizon, which is going to be when you have to do the supply chain planning plus the FP&A planning, they all can be part of the same workload. So you are going to find the end-to-end traceability in your planning as well as in your operational transactions. The other strengths for Oracle Gmentra is going to be the comprehensive demand forecasting. Just because demand forecasting is going to require data from many different places, in other cases you have to bring that data inside the solution to be able to utilize this. Here, not only you can use the data, but you can use this data as a feed for the decision making as well. That's where Oracle Gmentra is going to provide slightly more embedded experience and pre-integrated with the other products. So that's going to be a huge plus. Now, the limitations with Oracle Gmentra is the user interface is going to be clunky. It will require a lot more learning because this is going to be very proprietary, prescriptive. So some of the analysts that are going to be friendlier or familiar with your Excel spreadsheets, they might not appreciate Oracle Gmentra as much just because of the learning required, and they might not feel that they have as much flexibility that they might have with other technical platforms such as your Anaplan. And it is going to be expensive for SMBs as well, so it's not really a SMB product. So that's number 9. Now, number 8 on our list is SAP IBP. SAP IBP has a very similar positioning as your Oracle Gmentra, where it is going to be relevant for companies that are going to be on SAP products for other capabilities, and they are looking for the embedded S&OP experience as part of your ERP, and when you have to do the feed back and forth, that's when SAP IBP may make sense. This is typically relevant in slightly more regulated organizations when your planning workflows are going to impact your operational workflows, or operational workflows are going to impact your planning workflows. That's where you require far more embedded experience between your planning cycles as well as your operational cycles. So that's when SAP IBP is going to make sense. The other strengths with SAP IBP is that it's going to be pre-integrated with other SAP products. It's going to have comprehensive supply chain planning capabilities and designed for enterprise workloads. When you are going to have millions and millions of SKUs and location combination, when you are looking at workloads of the Fortune 50, Fortune 100 level, that's when SAP IBP is going to be relevant. The cons with SAP IBP are going to be very similar as your Oracle Gmentra because it will require a lot more learning. The consulting effort, the analysts may not like it as much because they are going to lose the flexibility. The user interface is probably going to be dated as well, and it is going to be expensive for SMBs. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is E2 Open, and E2 Open is perhaps the most comprehensive supply chain suite on this list because it has all of those layers. When you look at the planning network as well as the execution, they all are equally represented. So especially when you are looking at AI and ML workflows and you require the external data that is going to be produced by the providers as opposed to you producing that information, that's when E2 Open is going to be really relevant. And AI and ML capabilities are far more relevant for the S&OP platforms because you are going to be augmenting the data, especially from the demand forecasting perspective. So that's where E2 Open is really powerful with the other solutions. For example, let's say if you go for Connexus or Relics, Connexus does have their own network, but the network is not going to be as strong For Relax, you are getting all of this external data yourself. The provider is not going to provide any data. So that's a huge plus for E2 Open. The other strengths for E2 Open is the rich decision grade data through its network. And the reason why it is going to be decision grade, especially if you are going to be concerned about the demand forecasting accuracy, and if you don't have that data available or the data is not as good, that's where E2 Open is really going to shine, because they have the strongest network across the supply chain suites or the network. So that's where E2 Open is going to provide that, and E2 Open owns this network compared to some of the other solutions. So data is going to be far richer. It's going to be decision grade with E2 Open. If you are in the industries where collaboration planning is going to be part of the network, for example, let's say if you are in automotive verticals where you are collaborating with other partners, or let's say if you are going to be in spaces such as hospitality where you have to share your data workloads, industry data, or your internal data with your partners or suppliers, they might not be part of your organization. That's where E2 Open really shines. The cons with E2 Open is going to be expensive learning curve, as well as not designed for SMBs because of the price tag it's going to have. So that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Logility. So if you look at overarching position of Logility, it's a very prescriptive platform. It is going to be very similar to Relax, but for different verticals. So it's going to be a standalone planning solution, and it is going to have very built up planning scenarios. It's known for detailed inventory planning, detailed capabilities that you are going to find with some of the other inventory centric solutions. The cons with Logility is not designed for enterprises. So it's a great upper mid-market solution, but for the enterprises, it might not be the best fit because it has not been proven with the enterprise workloads. It's not a complete suite compared to your E2 Open, Blue Yonder, etc. And the flexibility is going to be limited just because the solution is very prescriptive. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is OMP. And OMP is a very strong enterprise grade solution. It is especially strong in the life sciences and metal oriented inventory planning. And in these verticals, the inventory is very unique. They require attributes at the lot level, at the serial number level, and then you are also going to have at the inventory level. So these are very unique industries. The kind of planning they require is very, very, very different compared to the other solutions. So OMP is going to be slightly more prescriptive platform for these industries. And the other limitations with OMP is it's a highly technical platform. So that means you are going to have far more learning curve overall, but those technical capabilities are also going to provide the flexibility in terms of scale when you are looking at very complicated planning scenarios. That's where OMP is going to be a great fit, but that is going to increase your implementation time, consulting time, as well as the training time. And then you might have adoption challenges just because of those, just because of the highly technical nature. The cons with OMP is not really designed for enterprise workloads. So it's a very mid-market centric solution. So for enterprise workloads, it might not be as great fit, and not necessarily the best fit for diverse operations. So when you are going to have very diverse business models, you have retail, manufacturing, and several different business models, they all require supply chain planning, and you are looking to host all of these planning scenarios as part of one solution. That's when you might require several different S&OP systems than just OMP doing that, because OMP is going to be great fit for life sciences, metal oriented inventory planning. But for other verticals, it might be overkill. It might not be the best fit. So that's number 5. Now, number 4 on our list is O9 solutions, and O9 is a very enterprise grade solution. It's also in that prescriptive standalone category. So it's going to have very advanced AI and ML capabilities from the technical standpoint. Meaning, if you have data, then you can utilize these AI ML capabilities. But if you don't have good data, then your AI and ML capabilities are not going to be as great. So that's going to be a difference between your O9 as well as your E2 Open. It's going to have pre-built planning workflows similar to other prescriptive solutions. So you don't have to invest as much consulting time in building these planning workflows. So that's going to reduce your implementation time, but that is going to increase your training time because you are learning proprietary knowledge. It is well adopted in the large enterprises. So it's a very enterprise grade solution, especially if you're looking for just the supply chain planning or the retail planning, and your aim is not to centralize all of those planning workloads, for example, FP&A, retail supply chain, etc., in one solution, that's when O9 is going to be a great fit. The cons is going to be not the best fit for smaller businesses, expensive, as well as limited ecosystem. So that's number 4. Now, number 3 on our list is Anaplan. Now, Anaplan takes a very different approach overall how they have designed their product. So compared to other suites, for example, let's say if you compare this with Blue Yonder or Manhattan, they are combining a lot more execution capabilities as well as network. So in their case, you are going to get far tighter experience from the supply chain retail planning perspective, but then you are going to compromise in the other planning workloads. For example, let's say if you want end-to-end traceability in your planning workloads from your FP&A to your workforce to your supply chain, that's when Anaplan is going to give you just one perspective from the planning perspective, but then it is not going to have the other pieces that are going to be part of other supply chain suite. So the pros with Anaplan is highly customizable, especially if you're looking for very diverse business models where you require supply chain planning for many different workloads. So some of these specific prescriptive solutions, they might not be as great fit because they are designed for very specific business model, very specific business processes, and a plan may cover many different business operations, combining all of those planning workloads. But the disadvantage is going to be that it is not going to have the other elements of the supply chain suite as well as network. So that's going to be a limitation. The other strengths for Anaplan is the ecosystem is very mature. So you are going to find a lot more consultants, the expert consultancy expertise that you would need to be able to enable these workflows. The cons with Anaplan is the steep learning curve as well as limited pre-baked industry-specific workflows. There are going to be consulting companies. They might have industry-specific workflows, but then you are buying an IP that may have its own pros and cons. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Blue Yonder. And Blue Yonder again takes very different approach. So this is going to be a suite from the network planning as well as from the retailer perspective. So Blue Yonder is far more relevant from the retailer perspective. It might not be as relevant for the other industries. The reason for that is because the planning cycles that Blue Yonder is going to have. For example, for retail industries, when you look at capabilities such as your merchandising planning, the way procurement processes are, the way your omni-channel experience works, it's very different compared to the other industries. So Blue Yonder could be a great fit for retail-centric industries when they are looking for the combined supply chain suite, and this suite does not need to be correlated with your ERP-centric capabilities. But if you look at some of the industrial centric verticals where your unit costing matters a lot, especially if you are going to be selling very expensive products where your retail planning does not matter, then Blue Yonder may not be the best fit just because it is going to decouple the supply chain planning from the ERP centric, the engineering centric workloads. With the other solutions, you are probably going to find that. So the pros for Blue Yonder is going to be the complete suite integrated for retail, widely popular among consulting firms. So you have far richer consulting base, the experts that you are going to find in the ecosystem, and most supply chain components are going to be part of the suite as well. So that is a huge plus with Blue Yonder. The cons are going to be it's expensive, it is not SMB friendly because of the layers that you are going to have as part of the solution, and not the best fit for 3PL companies because it is really designed from that retail perspective. So if you are looking for capabilities for 3PL, let's say if you're going to be a transportation company and you are looking for supply chain planning for those verticals, there are other solutions in the market that might be better fit. Having said that, Blue Yonder is a very strong S&OP platform. So that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is Connexus. And the reason Connexus is number 1 is because it provides the best of all worlds. For example, let's say if you look at its capabilities for retail plus manufacturing business models, these two business models are going to be very different. They require very different capabilities because the kind of supply chain planning that you are going to require for BOMs is going to be very different. That will require a lot more consulting efforts on slightly more technical platform. Connexus is going to have all of these workflows pre-built as part of the platform. Connexus also has a network very similar to E2 Open that very few companies are going to have. So it combines the planning component as well as the network component. And that network component is very critical for the S&OP planning, because otherwise the companies are going to acquire this data by themselves. Here, it is going to be covered as part of your licensing fee, which is a huge plus because they can provide far better data than you acquiring yourself, because they are going to have economies of scale with this. So the other strengths with Kinaxis is the richest pre-baked planning platform, especially for manufacturing-centric organizations, slightly more complex organizations. The advanced capabilities, the proprietary network are some of the other strengths. The cons with Kinaxis is not the most customizable platform, just because the platform is very prescriptive in nature, so it's not as customizable. It's expensive as well as not SMB friendly. So those are some of the limitations. So that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to link a detailed article that is going to have far deeper analysis. So you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't want to miss that. And this podcast is also available in the audio form as WBS Talks on Google, Spotify, and Apple. So you might want to head there and subscribe if you like. Also, if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2024, we are going to link that as well. So check that out. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.